or anyone watching. I swear I had like a premonition that Substack was going to have a live feature soon, and then I woke up to the notification saying that you may now impact the live. And I think that they sense the writing on the wall that TikTok is going to be no more, and that people are fleeing from the dopamine traps of Instagram. So here we are. I'm actually outside with my dog, letting him run because he's a hound. And I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about the nuances of the authority in human design. And if I get sidetracked, it's because Bodhi is howling and on something, and I need to check in with him. So as I'm walking through the woods and feeling a lot of clarity following the Mars opposition to the sun yesterday, which was really challenging for me as a Cancer, but did bring me face to face with a lot of shit, a lot of fears, a lot of dense old stories that I didn't even realize were clinging to my field until the sun illuminated it head on. It's the best way to describe it. And one of the nuances that I was working with last night, as I had all of these fears coming up, was I'm a splenic authority, and that means I'm supposed to get hits in the moment about something being right or wrong for me. But I'm stepping back into a time of my life that I stepped into too soon, about a year and a half or more ago, almost 2 years ago now, where I didn't understand human design yet. I didn't understand my strategy was to wait for invitations. So I was getting all these downloads about what I knew would be right for me at some point, and I was trying to initiate like a manifester, and it really blew up in my face. And it was a lot about business structure and me wanting to launch too soon. But I was so dysregulated at the time and so in my not self that I did not have the discernment to be able to tap into my authority. And I am in a place now where I am able to do that. I'm not super dysregulated. My life is more in balance. And the old stories all came up. What if it blows up again? What if this is just me pushing past my authority again without realizing it? What if these fears are my splenic authority trying to tell me to slow down and stop? And I was doing a lot of EFT tapping because that's part of the program that I'm doing with Karen Curry Parker in Quantum Human Design and her quantum alignment system. Good boy. In here, Bodhi. Check in here, bud. Trying to guide him to the bunnies. Go on, into the woods. Good boy. So as I'm laying in bed last night, tapping and crying and sensing and fearing, I felt a nuanced message come through to me that I wanted to share. And that is that your authority is so scary sometimes because you're supposed to really use your authority for bigger decisions and consequential decisions. And that's not to say you can't use it for small stuff too. It's just depending on your authority, you might not need to. You might just have intuitive hits that kind of guide you on what to eat or where to go hiking, that sort of thing. But bigger things like a business launch, so we think location, relationship, career, all of that really requires the wisdom of the authority. And the authority is just the pathway of least resistance for the divine to speak through you. However, if you're feeling particularly fearful and sort of drowning in that fear, then your authority might not be able to speak to you very clearly. And I was realizing that I had a lot of dense shields around my ability to discern through this and what was right and what wasn't right for me in the moment. So I just started calling on my guides pretty flatly, like, Jesus, take the wheel. Help me, please, that sort of thing. Hang on, I gotta call my hound back. If you have a hound and you don't have the Alpha 300i, you gotta get on this. This thing's amazing. I'm calling him from a 500 to 700 meter distance right now with a button. Anyway, side tangent. I don't have a sponsorship with them. I'm just saying. Anyway, I started calling in my guides to really help me, and it got me thinking about the posture of receiving when working with your authority. And I think that there's something to that. And if you feel scared about using your authority, if you feel scared about listening to the whispers, and you don't want them to have to become screams, you can ask. You're fully liberated to and encouraged to ask your guides to make it more obvious, because it takes a while. I'm like over a year into my deconditioning process with human design. Good boy. And it has taken me, here he goes. It has taken me a long time to learn how to trust my body, because the body doesn't just carry intuition, it carries all of the stuff that can get layer caked on top of intuition. And that's what I was feeling into and struggling with. So, no matter what your authority is, I recommend that you are prayerful about it, especially if you have a bigger decision coming up, and especially during a Mars retrograde, where we are really we come face to face with the errors of our willfulness and the times in our past where we maybe charged ahead too soon and weren't discerning. So I recommend going slow, getting in your body, doing some tapping if you need to. If you don't know what that is, look it up, or someday we'll book a session doing EFT through the quantum alignment system. And this is identity shifting work, and that can't be taken lightly. When you're shifting your identity, it's like you're anchoring in to something that might feel unfamiliar, even though it feels right. And it probably is right for you, because it's your identity, it's your blueprint, it's what you came here to be. But that doesn't mean it's comfortable, because often our blueprint is what we haven't been in the past. It's the karma we don't carry. The stuff that we're really good at is the shit that we came in with. It's the stuff that we're really good at repeating over and over and over again to our own folly. And it's challenging to anchor into a new paradigm. It's challenging work to realize an identity that you thought was yours is not yours, and it's here to actually fall away. And you need support in that. And I feel like spiritual support's the first piece there. And all that takes is you inviting and being open to receiving, and it can cost anything. It's just your birthright. And there are other things I think that I'm getting really clear on how to support people and anchoring in a new identity. And that will be part of my business offerings here soon. But I wanted to come on here and encourage you that if you feel like your authority is too scary to use right now, then pause. It's okay. You don't need to like blaze ahead with this new way of being that you don't trust yet. There's a bit of surrender, but it also is like your guides and the spirit, they don't expect you to be immediately trusting. And I would honestly challenge anybody who requires you to be immediately trusting of something that you don't understand yet and that doesn't feel quite right yet. It might just be that you need to go slow with it, and you need to, here comes Bodhi again. Whee! And you just might need to be with it slowly, steadily. I heard somebody say in a podcast yesterday, it might have been with the Almost 30 Girls, that in nature there's ritual to a threshold. Like dawn doesn't just happen, dusk doesn't just happen. There's a sunset and a sunrise, and there's this liminal space where we have time to adjust our eyes to this new state of being. And that is something we need to afford ourselves when we're engaging in identity shifting work and becoming the person that we were born to be. I feel like that feels finished. I feel like that's all I want to say. I'm going to continue to chase my hound around and let him chase bunnies. Much love to you all.